What's up, side viewers? Welcome back to another video. Today's video is a sequel to our previous video, which focuses on the headmistress and her daughter and the friends of the main group. Today's video is going to focus on Amaya and her bond. But I'm not going to spoil too much of what's happening now. If you guys are from DA, you guys already know what happens, but my YouTube viewers will be able to see what's actually happening in this video. Now, as you guys can see, Travis and Amaya have a very close friendship. And that's sort of kind of the same thing with Tyler and Hiroko, Daki and Midori, and I would say, who else? And maybe it's Suki and someone else. But these characters, generally speaking, have relationships with the girls' close friends. And so it's sort of a little bit of a fun little dynamic that I put that together. And Amaya is a very special character that we introduced in the story. And I'm going to go ahead and just be quiet for a moment and let you guys read for yourselves. Now, Amaya really cares about Travis, and that's something that you guys seen when she first was introduced into the story. Even enough that she scolded Akako to the point where she was willing to abandon her friendship after she saw the way Akako treated the other boys. And so, when Travis first came around, Amaya sort of looked out for him, and they became very close friends. And as I told you guys before, she is representative of that one friend that you're very close with, and that they generally look out for you and, take care of your own well-being. And so what you guys are seeing here in this conversation is a big reveal about Amaya's personality and the way we kind of design her character in some ways. And this was something that on DeviantArt shocked a lot of people. It was the first time we've actually ever or in general, ever seen somebody do something like this. And this was an idea that my friend told us to do. So, and yeah, she has autism, a GTS with autism, something that I personally have never seen in a story, and we just decided to put it in. And what's interesting about this is that she goes off track off record and just kind of tells her exactly what has influenced her to have in her life, her schooling, and the people around her. The two authors that I mentioned to you before, both me and her have family members who have autism, and what she's describing in that little text that you guys saw there previously was something that it's real. The lack of eye contact, the way of low aptitude, and it's something that affects us in various ways. For me, it's for my nephew, and it's unfortunate because a lot of teachers generally, have certain types of expectations that they think is going to be how the child might live. And so her story coming up, which I won't spoil, is going to be very heartfelt, and I hopefully it may touch some of you guys in some ways. You guys know that I love to write these stories in a very serious manner, so taking her character and giving that onto her character, and to go to show you how Travis sort of comforts her throughout this entire conversation is a very beautiful thing. And that was this is one of my favorite scenes, because Travis is doing the best he can to make sure that Amaya doesn't feel like she's a broken person or she's stupid. Typically how some people who have special needs feel sometimes, depending on who you may ask. I went to college with several people like that, and they're going to go see her quote unquote tiny, which Shanice has her bond, has an ability to allow her to see her bond. Also want to do a quick note, Shanice is half African American, half Japanese, so we're actually pretty proud of that as well. She's a very pretty looking character, and she's also based off of a friend of mine as well. And so this scene is kind of like really epic. So I'll go ahead and sort of be quiet and just let it play out. Right. I want to point out that there are multiple characters who can do similar things like Shanice, um, Sachiko's sister, and there he is. He's from China. He is our first character that comes from China. So that was something that I've been wanting to introduce for a while. But he's pretty badass. So I was very hesitant about actually giving, the Tinies actual powers, but for the most part, it actually ended up working out more than I expected. Tyler was the first one to get some kind of power, right, from Sachiko's sister, Imiko. And his power wasn't too OP. The one thing I don't want to do in these stories is give them extremely fantastical powers, where it takes away the tension of the story. And so Amaya's shocked by that. She's like, oh, this guy is a ninja? And then you see Travis sort of making fun of him in a manner. And then there's a little bit of AI art of him. Some of the depictions of the AI art was a little bit weird, but for the most part, I chose it because it looked good. But going back to what I was saying, giving the little ones powers sort of, I'm not saying it equals the playing field, but it gives them a slight advantage. And so, mind you, it's not every Tiny that comes into the story, but mainly him and maybe possibly a few others down the line. Nothing spoilerly though. Having these characters small, vulnerable, and constantly weak it does get kind of played out over time, right? So you want to be able to give these characters a little bit of a way to sort of, I guess you could say, defend themselves. And you guys are going to see that in the next upcoming scene. And then here we have Avia, the girl who just walked in. And right now they're pretending to be, to tell Travis to not, be realistic. She doesn't know that he's a real human. But Avia is an Indian character. And she's a little bit flirtatious and kind of, let's just say a little bit out there. And you'll guys see that along in the next arc coming up. Her character was inspired by my friend of mine who is Indian. She spoke to me all about like Indian culture, all sorts of like things. And living in New York City, I had multiple friends who were also Indian as well. Love Indian food as well. And so this scene is where she kind of finds out that there's something wrong with Travis, or at least she finds out the truth of Travis's nature. Because in her mind, she thinks that Travis is what they call, quote unquote, a mindless Tiny. Basically a Tiny who is dumb and just subservient to everybody, which is how they raise the little ones in their world, if you guys have been paying attention to the story. And now she's starting to see that, oh, wait a minute, he's not one of those kind of Tinies. He's a actual person who has actual feelings. And as you can see in her quote, she says something's wrong with him. And now the girls are panicking because they want to know if she's either going to betray them or side with them. And here comes these two. These two characters want Tyler, but we wonder what it is. I haven't revealed what the reason was, so we'll find out in the future. Now, some of you guys mentioned in DA that Akahana's ability should be able to literally be the most OP power in the entire stories. And I agree with you. Stopping time is pretty OP. But sometimes she doesn't use her power when she should. And so, and the way we kind of did that is, often or not, she gets caught off guard. But in truth, you guys are right. If she did use her power, she would be a very overpowered character. She could basically do whatever she wanted, or steal whoever she wanted if she so pleased. If she wanted to steal some tiny, she could. And this is where we get the badass scene with Akira. I'm gonna be quiet and let this scene play out. A little bit of AIR of Avia, so kind of giving you like the idea of her character being an Indian type character with her brown skin, very beautiful looking character, and being in Japan. And Avia's shocked. She's shocked to see this Tiny who has powers. All of this is just kind of hitting her in a crazy way. While these girls are already aware, but they're not even sure what this new character is. And this is Amaya's bond, as you guys know, as she mentioned earlier. And Amaya is seeing him for the first time. He's completely different. And the good thing about this story is that we try to keep it completely unexpected. You know, we don't. Some people expect that a character is going to be a certain way, and we kind of trick you a little bit. And that's kind of the charm of these stories, is that we trick you by not giving you what you might think might happen. Just like everybody thought Hiroko was this very yandere type character when she really wasn't. And same for Akako. And then we get this scene of him using his powers. So some people on DA got confused. Some people think that he was using her power of, if I'm not mistaken, sort of like manipulation of gravity. But reality was she was using her to use her gift towards Akahana. And that's what really was happening. And she kind of does like the Star Wars force choke on her. It's the first time we kind of added real violence towards the actual like GTS themselves. Because it's always like the Giantess and the Tiny generally committing a violence, but this was like an introduction of him being able to fight back using a mind control technique. And then Amaya just asks him to stop, to please stop. And she pleads to him and begs him to stop his violence. And that's part of Amaya's heart, her characteristics as a very gentle person. If you guys remember from My Tiny Defender, when she started to feel sympathy for Tyler. Amaya is a very, very loving person. She's not a person who loves violence or um, hurting people, even though she was a little bit misguided back in the early arcs. But overall, Amaya is a very benevolent person. She's a very beautiful character. Pay attention to what Akira is saying, because that's gonna be some pretty big plot stuff going on throughout the story about his brother. Remember, he said that his brother was taken away from him when he was a baby. So, there's some pretty deep stuff going on here. I don't think the story is hard to figure out, to be honest with you. You could probably figure things out, and hopefully I'm doing better by not spoiling anything for you guys. Because I know that some people said that I did kind of spoil some stuff, and I want to go ahead and apologize for that. But I think so far I'm just describing what's really happening for the most part, and sort of clearing out some confusions about abilities and powers and different types of character dynamics as such. And this one got a little bit meta right here, a little bit fourth wall break here. Every character they have their own charm, and Avia, I'm excited to start her story as well. She's a girl, I didn't put it in this video, but I could say this. She's a girl that feels that she's not important, and that's going to play a role. Every character has a certain way that they feel about themselves, and the boys themselves sort of kind of help them identify that, as you guys have seen with the trend of this story as it is. And Avia feels that she's just not, she doesn't have a meaningful role in her life. Now, the reason why I'm telling you this now, and instead of not putting this in the video, is because on DA I have AA art with extra descriptions on the bottom that describes everything, extra thoughts of the characters, I guess you could say. Sort of kind of like the ending of Demon Slayer, where they have like that extra like stuff about each character, that kind of a thing. And now we get to the major plot point of the headmistress. Now, everything you guys are seeing here, pay attention to what she says. I'm going to be quiet and let you read. Yeah, guys, this was a major plot point, and I'm not going to spoil too much, but remember what she said about not having kids. Throughout this story, this is going to be a reoccurring theme about with her, especially. And this is our way of not making this character just outright evil for no reason, right? There are more reasons to it that has not been shown in this video as to why she is the way she is. But let's continue here, where this is Goro-san. Now, you guys remember Goro-san, right? The guy who basically got, Aaron's mother treatment, right? Where he got his spine snapped in half by his lover. And notice that she's with him, right? You guys remember in the last video, she revived him, and as you can see by her facial expressions, she is happy that he's with her. But I'll go ahead and just keep my mouth shut. And she takes him to the sacred place, a familiar place that you guys saw recently, but more so in the physical realm. We're seeing a bit of a different side of the headmistress, very notably. A side of her that, so far, we really haven't been showing. And this is something to keep in mind, is that characters like her are more deeper than just surface level evil. And it all depends on what you might define as evil. And that's another tricky statement to say. But nothing spoiling so far. Everyone has their reasons. As I mentioned to you guys before in a previous video, every character has their reasons and motivations. And it all depends on how you view it. Some of it, we're just going to leave it up to your viewers' interpretation on whether or not it's outright evil and whether or not it's not. So, and guys, as a reminder, there is going to be a non-commentary version on the community tab. I'm going to post it in a Google Drive link. You're going to notice that the music is far different, and also maybe some slight iterations of the sound effects. So guys, I thank you guys for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. I'm trying to get better at these commentary videos, but they're not always easy because I typically don't talk for too long. But hey, as always, thanks for watching.